Hello, my name is Chris Goode, and I help people transform the pain of a breakup into a life of power and purpose. So if you find yourself struggling to get over an ex, then this is going to be the video for you. Now, today I want to talk about why is it that some people are able to get over an ex so quickly, and why you who are watching might really be struggling to move on and to move forward. Now, it's totally normal to have some level of grief associated with the loss of a person. It's a natural human experience, but there are still people who are able to almost cry it out a bit and then move on. It's like they process it and move forward, and it seems almost instantaneous. It seems almost immediate. And why can't you have that? Well, the reason for this is because of beliefs. Our beliefs about ourselves, our beliefs about relationships and attachments. And so just like you think of a monkey that's swinging from vine to vine in a forest, if it doesn't believe that it has a chance of swinging to the next vine, it's going to cling on to the one that it's holding. And so when we think about what we're dealing with when it comes to moving on from a relationship, if we don't have something compelling, if we don't have something that we really believe that we can move on to, then we find ourselves holding on to what we had because we know it. There's a level of certainty associated with that experience. And the unfortunate thing is, even though the nature of that thing has changed, the person that we were with no longer wants to be with us, we still hold on tightly. We hold on tightly psychologically. And even though everything's changed, they're no longer with us, we suffer because of that, because we're not accepting things as they actually are. And because of this, we're not moving forward in the way that reality is presenting itself. So then you might ask, well, how the heck do I learn to be more accepting and to let go? Well, there's a few different ways. There's probably a multitude of different ways, but there's a few that I'm going to discuss here. The first one is simply meditation. Meditation is a phenomenal practice where you learn to just sit with your experience. And the most well-known one is Vipassana. It's the breathing meditation. There's another one called Shikantaza, which is a Zen form of meditation where you simply sit down and you stare at a wall. And, staring at a wall, you just allow yourself to experience everything that's happening, not necessarily focusing on any particular point, whereas in Vipassana meditation, you're going to anchor yourself to the breath. So if a thought comes up or an emotion comes up and you find yourself distracted by it, you immediately bring yourself back to the breath. And it's a way of grounding yourself. But either one is valuable in the fact that you're able to guide your attention and to move it around and to accept the changing experience that you're having in the present moment. And the more accepting you become of your experience, the easier it is to move on from it, because it's our resistance to it which allows it to persist. It's like the very thing that we're trying to escape from just continues to follow us like a shadow. The more that you try to escape from unhappiness, the more you pursue happiness, the less happy you will be. And the same goes when it comes to letting go of attachments. And so really the only way that we can move forward, the only way that we can be at peace with things is learning how to accept them. So this is a long-term strategy, a long-term way of developing that muscle of acceptance and non-attachment and letting go. Another thing is increasing our self-awareness. I've talked about this in my other videos. And when it comes to self-awareness, things like meditation obviously help, journaling, just being much more introspective, asking yourself why you're feeling the way that you're feeling and why it is that you're doing the things that you're doing. Really questioning, why is this thought coming up into my mind? Why am I feeling these emotions right now pertaining to this person? Why is it I'm struggling so much to let this person go? And simply by asking these questions through self-inquiry and reflection, we are able to start generating a self-understanding. And from that place, we are able to make better sense of why it is that we do the things that we do. And then because we know why we do the things that we do, we're able to take more effective action because we understand our needs. We understand our vulnerabilities. We understand our strengths. We understand that in certain contexts and environments and situations, this is the way that we respond. And it might be because of the way that we were raised. It could have been because of our cultural beliefs. It could be because of the people around us have certain beliefs. And there's another thing, is actually questioning what it is that we believe. Is this from us? Is it true that it takes forever to get over an ex? Who believes that? Why does that have to be true? And why are we blindly accepting it as true? So think about these things and really take some time to consider the implications of this, because they're massive. If you believe that it's going to take a long time to get over somebody that you are in a relationship with, then you better bet that the actions that you're going to take are going to promote an experience that is going to make you feel like it is going to take a long time to get over that ex. Whereas if you change the way that you see things and the way that you perceive things, you'll begin to sort of move the winds of your experience, and you'll be able to move your life in a different way. And life suddenly becomes a lot different than what it was. And I'm not saying that you can simply believe something and it's like you can believe you can fly and jump off a building and suddenly you're up in the sky. Not going to work. Don't try it. I'm telling you, it doesn't work. However, believing that something emotional doesn't have to be quite as painful as it is could actually have an impact. Believing that there's a thing called the Pygmalion effect, where the people around us, what they believe about us can actually impact our performance. Like a teacher believing that a student can perform well in school, that they're very intelligent, they're gonna take different actions that they wouldn't take towards someone that they believe is not gifted. And what happens is the student that's believed to be gifted ends up performing much better, even though the experimenters knew that there was no difference between the children. And so it's so important for us to understand how our beliefs impact and influence our reality. So when it comes to getting over an ex, things like journaling, that's another way of doing self-inquiry and self-reflection. Paying attention to your actions. Our actions say a lot more about our beliefs than what we consciously think. If you find yourself avoiding things all the time, you're not going out, you're not hanging around people, what does this say about you? What does this say that you believe? By understanding these things, we get a better idea of who we are. And then the way in which you can change your beliefs is by changing your actions, which then changes your experience. But there can be a problem with this, because you can sometimes find a lot of resistance to taking consistent action over and over again. It's almost like it's like going down a snowy hill, and you're like, I want to try a different part of the hill, but when you try to slide down the snowy hill, you find yourself falling back into the old groove that you were in before. And it takes time to build that new habit, to build that new way of being. The other thing is you could do something like hypnotherapy or hypnosis, where you actually dig under the surface into the unconscious mind, and you're able to immediately change the beliefs, because there's certain psychological knots that are tied up with it. That are tied up in why you're so stuck to this. It could be something like an abandonment wound. It could be some level of insecurity, a lack of self-worth. A lot of people struggle letting go because they don't feel like that's the person that showed them that they mattered. That it's the only person that they think could show them that they matter. Or it's like they don't feel like they don't feel comfortable with the pain associated with someone leaving them or someone saying goodbye, because it's reminiscent of a time that they were discarded or abandoned or ignored in some way by someone long ago. Could have been a parent, it could have been another romantic partner. It was something that was deeply emotionally impactful, and it caused a lot of hurt. So they were unable to let go of that emotional charge, to process it in a way to where they could effectively move forward. And so when they find something that's reminiscent of that, it just brings it all back to the surface. And then you're not really dealing with just the pain of a breakup, but you're actually dealing with the charge of something so much more significant. And these things can link onto other things from the past. Problems tend to hold the hands of other problems. And if you want to be able to move forward from that, then you've got to be willing to do the work, the deep work. And there's a slow way to do it, which is effective and it's good and it does work. But there's also a fast way to do it, where you can do something like hypnosis, and with the right person, and as quick as a single session, you could find yourself moving on and letting go. You could find the weight that you're bearing on your shoulders coming off. And wouldn't that be wonderful to not be so taxed by the past and to be able to move on into the future, to see something compelling and worthwhile to press on into. We all deserve the opportunity to have something worthwhile to hope for, to have something worthwhile and compelling to move towards. And there's no difference for you, for myself. And so the question is, what are you going to do to make these changes? Either one's going to work. It's either make a consistent and daily habit of meditating, journaling, start a practice of self-inquiry and reflection, and then do what's necessary to move forward. Or use something like hypnosis and work with someone who is a certified hypnotherapist like myself who can help you take those next steps. So if you found this video helpful or you have any questions regarding the topic, drop it down in the comments and let me know. If there's any particular subjects that you want me to touch base on in the future, let me know in the comments. And please, if you enjoy this, subscribe and like the video, and I look forward to sharing more with you.